Whatever you do, make sure you visit ashkicking.com for your home fragrance, health, and beauty needs. Quality products at a great price.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Boy, oh boy, I tell you, that Hope Insurance is something else, ain't it? My goodness. So Canelo Alvarez, he came out, spoke to Fight Hub today, and he said everything that you guys have heard me say, that you guys have heard Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. say, that you've heard many different fighters say. He said the same exact things, almost word for word, right? Matter of fact, let me go ahead and quote exactly what Canelo Alvarez had to say about Golovkin after his performance over Danny Jacobs, or I should say against Danny Jacobs. So this is what Canelo had to say, quote, "We saw what we knew already about him. Golovkin's performance against Jacobs, everything we saw was everything we knew already about him. So it was nothing new to us. We saw what we knew already, and that exposed him. My personal opinion, I saw Jacobs winning. I think Jacobs won," end quote. And then Canelo, he went on to basically saying that Danny Jacobs did something that Golovkin wasn't used to. He said Golovkin was used to guys just standing in front of him and taking bombs or throwing bombs. He said, but Danny Jacobs, he slipped and slid and he moved a lot. Now, I agree with about 95% of what Canelo just said. I don't really agree that Danny Jacobs did a whole lot of moving, because Danny Jacobs didn't really do a whole lot of moving. Danny Jacobs gave Gennady Golovkin problems by fighting fire with fire, but doing it with finesse, as Danny Jacobs' trainer would say. He confused and frustrated Golovkin, switching back and forth from righty to lefty, which ultimately got him knocked down in the fight. But at the same time, that did frustrate Golovkin for the most part. But the main thing he did was intimidated Gennady Golovkin with his size, his athleticism, and his power. He caught Golovkin with a couple of good body shots, and he would always wait to counter Golovkin. So because Danny Jacobs was always fighting on the back foot and forcing Golovkin to start or initiate, this forced Golovkin to be very reluctant to go on the inside and really press the issue. This is why Golovkin stayed behind his jab, which is okay to obviously try to control the action with your jab, but ultimately the jab is used to set up other big punches, right? That's basically the key to open the door and get inside. But Golovkin did not want to get on the inside with Jacobs. But yet at the same time, Danny Jacobs was also intimidated by Gennady Golovkin. And this is why Danny Jacobs, he allowed the fight to be so close, because when Golovkin would lead, Danny would always answer back, but Danny would never be first. He would always wait for Golovkin to be first, and that is why he ended up losing this fight. Now, I personally thought Jacobs won the fight, but what I'm saying is he allowed the fight to be closer than it had to be. And when you're in there with someone like Golovkin, there's no way you can allow the fight to be close. You have to at least win the fight 9 rounds to 12 or something like that. But with that being said, I totally agree with Canelo Alvarez when he said these are things that we already knew about Gennady Golovkin. I mean, we've seen the chinks in the armor when Golovkin fought against Willie Monroe. And then, of course, when he fought against Kell Brook. But it was completely confirmed when he fought against Danny Jacobs. Now, here's the big question. The big question is, Are you decafs now going to call Canelo Alvarez a racist? Are you going to call him a racist now? Of course you're not. You know why? Because Canelo Alvarez has his Hope Insurance. He's covered. That's what Hope Insurance covers. Now, you see, if I say this, then they'll use those code words, oh, you racist, etc., which we really know what they really want to call you, but they use that code word racist because they don't want to be exposed as a racist themselves if they call you what they really want to call you. We know this to be the case because, once again, they would be saying the same things about Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when they corroborated, right? So we know what time it is at the end of the day. You know, the things that you hear me talk about, once again, you don't ever hear me say anything personal about Gennady Golovkin. All we are doing is talking boxing. And the difference from what you guys hear me say and what we hear the average decaf in the comment section say, the difference is the majority of boxers, trainers that actually do this for a living, as Derek James will say, the majority of them that are actually getting a check for this, 95% of them completely agree. But when it comes to what we hear decaf say on the streets, on the internet, wherever, when it comes to the rhetoric that they push out, professional boxers and trainers, at least 90% of them, all they do is shake their head and damn near laugh when they hear the stuff that these decafs push out. Once again, I don't say anything personal about Golovkin. All I do is talk boxing. Now, if I were to criticize the flaws of Deontay Wilder, now if I were to criticize the flaws of Gary Russell, or anyone, say that they have flaws and all this kind of stuff, then these decafs, they would be like, okay, now you're talking, Dante. Oh, but when we criticize somebody on the hope list, all of a sudden it's World War III. We know what time it is, man. We know what time it is. With that all being said, hopefully this means Canelo Alvarez, is going to go ahead and take the fight. Canelo Alvarez will be a complete fool not to take advantage of trying to become the first person to officially put that L on Golovkin's record. Because if he doesn't take that fight in September, and now I know this is not all on Golovkin. I know this is not all on Canelo, it's on Golovkin as well. Golovkin would be a fool too, because right now, people are in line to be the first person to beat Gennady Golovkin. And I truly believe it will be very difficult for Golovkin to remain undefeated within the next year. Within the next 18 months, it will be very difficult, especially if he is facing the best competition available. So if Golovkin is playing it smart and he's playing it safe, I should say, financially safe, his best bet would be to probably not fight anyone and just wait till September and go ahead and collect that check, win, lose, or draw. That would be the smartest financial move for Gennady Golovkin, and the smartest move for Canelo would be to take the damn Golovkin fight after the Chavez fight. Because Golovkin, once again, Golovkin is going to be very tough for him to remain undefeated. Very tough. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo! Hey. Yeah.